بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود بطغواها إذ انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها صدق الله العظيم.
Welcome you all and thank you all for coming out here to the launch of the Amana Foundation. It's great to see you all. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Fatima. I'm the co-founder of Amana. Amana started off as an idea me and Mujahid Baisab had last Ramadan. We thought it would be great if the kids in the family got involved with their own charity. So we spent the next few weeks planning it, discussing it and getting really excited. And nothing was happening for a while. I mean, we had ideas, but nothing was really happening. And then I remember the day before my Sasa passed away, I got a call from Baisab and he randomly said, he goes, Fatima, we need to sit down and we need to redo this talk. We need to get Amana going. And he goes, okay. So I said, okay, I'll come tomorrow and we'll sit down and inshallah we'll get this charity going. And then, as you all know, last November, we were all shocked with the loss of my uncle, Nawashir Khan, whom we all love so dearly. As you all know, he was an absolutely amazing person, and he was a beautiful inspiration for all of us. His death not only came as a great loss for his family, but the entire community in Oldham. Oldham had just lost its guiding light. The example he set for us was one of compassion, kindness, and sincerity. He spent all his life helping others and making sure people could live better lives and live more peacefully. His selfless acts were absolutely inspirational. I don't think I've ever met or heard of anyone who made the sacrifices that my uncle made. The beautiful, selfless things he did blessed countless people, and so many people are who they are today, where they are today because of him. And we feel honoured to be his family or to have known him. So as his family, we felt it would be wrong for his work to stop. We felt it would be a great injustice for the beautiful things that my uncle did to stop. So as his family, we all want to carry on implementing his principles of love and kindness. He is renowned for his compassion, but we won't let it end here. He taught us a lot. He taught us family values. He taught us respect. He taught us the importance of community. He taught us the importance of helping people in need. It's almost all he cared about all his life, just helping people. And now we want to let his legacy to carry on through Amana. Amana Foundation will inshallah help many people and become a beacon of hope for them, just like my uncle was a beacon of hope for us. So today I'd like to ask you all to support us, and inshallah this charity can become a means for us to gain Allah's mercy, and we pray Allah gives my uncle a share of the blessings too. So please remember us in your du'as and pray that Allah accepts our efforts. And I'd like to just finish with two hadiths that I really love a lot. Our beloved Prophet, peace be upon him, said, voluntary charity extinguishes the anger of Allah. And he ﷺ also said, give in charity, for calamities do not pass by it. Thank you.
Of our lives so greatly that we would be entirely different people if we hadn't. He cared about all of us more than we care about each other right at this moment. He welcomed distant people into his family and cared about people who other people didn't even want to know. He fathered people whose fathers had already passed. When he passed, the word spread like fire and the town was in mourning. For some, it sank in eventually. For others, it was just a nightmare which they wanted to wake up from. For us personally, it doesn't feel like he's gone. The list of endless tasks he's tackled for many people goes on and on. He helped the hundreds of He helped hundreds settle legally in this country with family. He kept people's money and treasures safe for them. He gave all he had left of his pension every month to charity, and none of us even knew about it. He worked and worked until he couldn't, and none of us even knew it. He worked and worked until he couldn't anymore, and even when he felt ill and weak, he solved people's problems, whether they were small things like petty accusations, or big things like fights or for land, or family problems. I have never heard of such a huge, complicated, extended family like ours, who have all stayed together one way or another. The month he has had between his epilepsy fit in the last 2 days of Ramadan and the epilepsy fits leaving him with his peaceful last breaths in the hospital the next day were actually his strong points, because even though he had to deal with all these illnesses, he somehow managed to sort everything out to leave us as a family proud and able to move on with my auntie's wedding as smoothly as possible, even though we had to get through it with a few tears here and there. Although he was my granddad, he was like a protector, not physically but mentally. My last living memory of him was in the kitchen of my first home, 136 Main Road, or some people called it Main Road. We had a short conversation, but little did I know I should have hugged him for one last time, because that was the last time I would see him smiling. That day I noticed he was smiling a lot. He knew we loved him more than anything. Being his first grandchild, I was spoiled a lot when I was younger, but I can't remember all that. Just to show care for me in the years I can remember is enough for me. His whole life revolved around his love for God and his worship to God. Anything and everything else came second. Last Ramadan, when he became ill, I spent 6 straight hours sitting with him in case anything happened. That particular time, I felt so drawn for him for some reason. That was the weakest I had ever seen him. This experience showed me how much I can really love someone. The truth is, he died a strong young man at heart, and he will never for 1 second in my life be forgotten.
Okay, thanks, Sarah, for those moving words. We'll move on, and my father, he didn't just do the work here. In his early days, he did a lot of work in Bangladesh, and many of you will not know, but I actually know quite a lot of the work that he did in Bangladesh, like building schools and helping millions of people, improve their lives. I'm going to call Mohsin now to share his thoughts about his granddad.
A letter from Mr. Michael Meacher, MP. Dear Mrs. Khan family, I was extremely upset to hear the death of your husband. Mr. Khan was an outstanding leader of the Bangladeshi community in Oregon, and I valued greatly the support that he gave over so many years. He was able to give me an insight into how his community worked and how problems could be addressed. His work in establishing both the community centre and advice centre was appreciated by everyone, and the number of people he assisted over the years must be in their thousands. He was always so very kind and helpful to myself, from giving advice to allowing me to use his home for meetings. He will be greatly missed by his family and his community. I will personally treasure his memory and send my sincere condolences to all his family. Kind regards, Michael Meacher. This letter is from Councillor John Batty. Dear Muzahid Khan, I was saddened to hear that your father had passed away. He was an inspirational community leader who I and colleagues had a great deal of respect for. It was his drive and determination that brought about the building of the Millennium Centre. Your community have a debt of gratitude to all the efforts Mr. Khan devoted to the work of the Bangladeshi Association. You and your family are in our thoughts and prayers. Yours sincerely, Councillor John. The next letter is from Dr. Fleming. Dear Mrs. Khan, I have just received notification today of Mr. Khan's sad demise. I was shocked to hear the news. May I offer you my condolences? Certainly Mr. Khan has always been a perfect and educated gentleman. My condolences to all family members. Yours sincerely, Dr. Fleming.
I remember every time I visited your home, I remember feeling confused and so small. Your usual greeting would make me groan, but now I feel very tall. Tall because you are my own blood and family. We were never alone because you filled us with harmony. You were an inspiration to us all. I was proud to call you my uncle. My heart broke when you were gone, our emotions set free from the shackle. I remember watching everyone cry. I remember pondering why I never did. Maybe I wasn't ready to say goodbye. Maybe I wanted to believe that this was all a fib. I silently shed a few tears. Remembering all the years, I looked at other people. They were upset that you drifted apart. I realised now I couldn't be equal, or I couldn't cry like them. But I saw you were a gem, and that's why you'd always live in a box. You'd always be in my prayers. I love you, my sister.
We're going to now show you a short video. First one is part of the funeral.
অবস্থায় রয়্যাল হসপিটালে শেষ নিঃশ্বাস ত্যাগ করেন। মৃত্যুকালে তার বয়স ছিল ৭৬ বছর। মরহুম অবশ্যিকা সাহেব দীর্ঘদিন ওড়ায় বসবাস করেন। তার মৃত্যুতে ওড়ামের সুখে ছায়া নেমে আসে। খবর শুনে অনেকে তাৎক্ষণিক হাসপাতালে ছুটে যান তাকে দেখার জন্য। পরদিন সোমবার স্থানীয় মিলেনিয়াম সেন্টারে বাদ হরতাল নামাজে জানাজা অনুষ্ঠিত হয়। কিংবদন্তি এই সমাজসেবকের জানাজা কয়েক হাজার লোকের উপস্থিতি ঘটে। শেষবারের মতন তাকে শ্রদ্ধা জানাতে তার দীর্ঘদিনের অনেক সঙ্গী সাথীরা জানাজায় অংশগ্রহণ করেন। জানাজা শেষে স্থানীয় ক্লিনিকের 70তে মরহুমের দাফন সম্পন্ন করা হয়। এদিকে মরহুম নবশেখানের ছেলে কমিউনিটি
I hope that gave you an idea of what we've been going through over the last couple of months. I know we've not had a chance to ask anyone else to share their thoughts about my father. So this is really an open space. If anybody wants to come here and share a few thoughts. Or also give ideas for how Amana Foundation can move forward. You can, say anything you like. So I'm not going to really ask anybody because I think we're all kind of quite emotional at the moment. But anyway, if anyone does feel strongly that they've not had the chance to grieve properly or even attend the funeral or anything, but there's a chance to say what how you feel about our loss.